What's going on, everybody? Welcome to DFS by Cage, Ep.9, where I am doing my six-person DFS lineup for UFC Vegas 43 this Saturday upcoming. I'm excited for this card. If you saw my video last week, we had a pretty decent week. We won a couple of dollars off of the fight. Of course, the Colin Anglin pick didn't help us out, but every other pick hit, especially the Max Holloway and the Felicia Spencer one. They both racked up over 140 points on the DFS lineups. And then we even hit on a couple of the other picks as well. So it was a pretty decent week. So let's continue the hot movement right now on DFS for Draftkings. And let's get started with our six-person lineup for this week with the main event this Saturday being Miesha Tate versus Ketlin Vieira. I'm going to start my DFS lineup from cheapest fighter to most expensive from 1 to 6. So you have an idea of who I picked for my lineup this week. And this is going to be an early lineup with the weigh-ins, people getting pulled out due to COVID or injury. I'm going to wind up putting out another video around Thursday or Friday. I've been putting out videos every week now, and there's been a lot of changes. So I decided I'm going to do an early video, and then I'm going to do a video either Friday or Saturday. That way, if I need to make any changes for you guys, I can help you guys out right up to fight time. So that's what I'm going to do from now on. But before I get started with any of my lineup here for you guys, I want to let you guys know that this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the handles to the left. Of course, I am Daniel Bakley, your host and producer of Cage My IQ and DFS by Cage. If you could help us out, just go to our YouTube channel that we're partnered with at Fighters First. Please subscribe to the page and hit the notification bell so whenever I put all my content out, you guys are the first to get it so you never miss any of it. And please hit the like button on the video. That would really help us out at Fighters First if you hit the like button so we can get all the algorithm going on our side. And then, of course, hit the comment section when I put the video out. Let me know what you think of my video, and let me know who you're going with your DFS lineup this Saturday. But to get started with my lineup, as you see here, we got all the fighters listed here. I got it listed from most expensive to least expensive on here. That way, it's the best way possible for you guys. But to start with my least expensive fighter right here, I got Shaylin Nerdinbiecki, who I'm going with my least expensive person in my lineup. He is coming in at 7,200, so he's very cheap there. As you see there, he fought Calbeo to where he got a loss by decision, but he did have 2 takedowns in the fight where he had 6 minutes of control time and he had 23 strikes. So he does a lot of control time. He is known for that Chinese wrestling, and he's going up against a guy in Soriano, as you see right there, who has 4 losses in his UFC career. He's 0-4. I'll go right up here. For some reason, he's very high on Draftkings, even though his score is only 25 on average. As you see there, a big highlight there, which is why I'm going with Shaylin in this. With one of my picks is 4 losses in a row, 3 of them by decision, and 1 of them is by decision. And only one of those fights he has high striking output, which was the decision loss to Rosa in that matchup where he actually got 3 takedowns, but then he of course got subbed in the other fights, he also were sub 2, and in only 2 of those fights he was able to get control time, and in the other ones he wasn't really able to. And I feel like this is a perfect sneaky matchup where you can go with the cheap fighter in Shailin Nerdebiecki, who has that wrestling game where he can get a couple takedowns in the fight, surprise Sean Soriano in the lineup. And because look, just right there, he has 2 takedowns and 6 minutes of control time. Soriano's easily going to be able to get taken down in the fight, in my opinion. You don't really need to get a lot of strikes going, but I feel like Nerdebiecki can get you some ground and pound striking. He can get you the control time. He can sneak away with the decision victory in this. And if he's able to, with the path of victory on Soriano for his opponents being submission, maybe he can sneak in the submission and get you a little bit more points. But for me, going with the cheap guy in my lineup, I'm expecting him to go the 3 round decision. I'm expecting him to get anywhere from 3 to 4 takedowns and around that 5 to 6 minutes of control time, and then maybe 20 to 30 strikes. But at the end of the day, I feel like he's going to get you anywhere from 40 to 50 points for your lineup, unless he gets a TKO in one of the first 3 rounds somehow, or if he could sneak in a submission. But this is your stereotypical cheap guy in your lineup. You don't expect too much from him, but if he can outdo the point coverage that you think he's going to do, then it's just all gravy there. It's just plus for you in your lineup. But like I said, with the first person in my lineup that I'm putting in there, I got Nerdebiecki with the salary of 7,200 with my lineup. With the next person in my lineup, I got Rafa Garcia with the DFS price tag of 7,700. This is one of my kind of risky picks here because, as you see here, he has 2 losses where he lost by decision, but he is a heavy-handed guy who can knock somebody out at any moment. In both of his fights where he basically lost in the last round in both fights, he went to decision. In his last fight against Grussmacher, which he almost knocked him out. He had 90 strikes total, 72 significant strikes. He had 5 takedowns, which is big, and he had 6 minutes of control time there. Whereas in the first fight, he had 52 significant strikes and 54 strikes overall. He only had 21 minutes of control time. But I think he's going to get a little bit of takedowns in this fight. He's going up against Natan Levy, who is a highly big prospect, and I expect this fight to be very close. I either think it's going to be Garcia winning this by knockout or Levy pulling it out by decision. Because if you go up there to Levy, he's another guy who is up there, even though he hasn't fought yet. He's up there with 8,500. He's making his debut, but on the regional scene, he is very sought after in these promotions where the UFC was able to bring him up, and he's making his debut now. I think Levy's going to be more of the ground guy. He's going to try and get the fight to the ground, where you got Rafa Garcia, like I said before, who's going to look to try and throw the strikes, get the production early. He's going to try and get this fight finished in the first round, to which I do see is possible, but which I'm hoping for. That's why I'm going with him here. I'm hoping he gets the fight out in the first round, gets the shocking victory by knockout, because he does have that knockout power. You saw that in the Grussmacher fight. Grussmacher he can take damage like no other. I thought he was finished twice in that fight. But I'm hoping if the fight goes longer, that Garcia can utilize the takedowns again like he did against him. He knew that he was getting a little bit tired, so he went towards that later in like the second, third round. I hope that he can do that, because if he doesn't get the finish in the first round, I hope he can utilize that so he can utilize the points for that, because takedowns are worth a good amount, and then get the control time where he just holds him down or holds him along the cage. And I think the longer the fight goes, it's going to be more towards Levy. But I have to take the risk here because I'm top heavy with my lineup with the fighters, that I had to take at least one risk here. And this is my risky pick here for my lineup with Rafa Garcia, who's only averaged 45 to 50 points on Draftkings in the lineup. But for him to get almost 70 points in a loss against Grutzbacher, you can't beat that. So with the second person in my lineup, I'm going with the Rafa Garcia with the DFS tag of 7,700. So let's put him in my lineup right there, right under Nurden Bieki. But let's move on to the third fighter on my lineup here. I'm going to scroll up, and of course, it's Terrence McKinney, the big dog, with a price tag of 8,400. You can't beat this guy. This guy came in on short notice against Matt Friola, comes in 14 to 20 seconds and gets the first round TKO. He only threw 4 strikes, 5 strikes, 4 significant. He got the knockdown, he got the finish, and he got 127 points because of that. He's going up against Ziem in this matchup, who actually is worth a little bit more on DraftKings than Terrence McKinney is. If you go to Varys Ziem in this matchup, his nickname's the Smile Curl. He comes in at 7,800. If you look at him, he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights, but he's only averaged 44.7 points, and it looks like he doesn't really do anything crazy. Like he gets like 50 around 50 strikes total. I would say 35 to 45 significant strikes on average. He's only had 1 takedown. He's beaten Morlarky, Van Dramini, and then he lost the match. But he's coming up against a guy in Terrence McKinney. Sorry about that. That has knockout power. Like you see there, he's 11-3 in his career. A lot of his fights don't go past the 1.5 round mark in 3 to 5 round fights. So that just means that he's a finish guy where he gets a lot of knockouts or submissions, and that's great for DraftKings. I feel like it's going to be the same thing with this matchup. I feel like he's going to get the first round knockout of Ziem because I feel like he has that power. It's going to come in there. He just seems like a tall, lanky guy. And then anybody with the nickname T-Rex, he should be able to knock guys out. And I feel like he's going to get the knockout the first round. And he's going to get this like around 100 to 110 points in this because of the knockout. And I feel like he's going to continue that UFC pattern of first round knockouts. It's just, how can you pass this guy up when most of his fights have only gone under 1.5 rounds? It's just a recipe for a lot of points on DraftKings. So once again, with the third person in my lineup, I'm going with Terrence McKinney at the price tag of 8,400. With the next person in my lineup, I'm going up with the Pat Sabatini with the price tag of 8,700. He's only had 2 fights here, but this is a Lorenzo Gracie Philly fighter who comes in here with that grappling background where he can also strike on the feet and get and then he's really good with the ground game and jiu-jitsu. In his 2 fights, he beat Conley and Emmers. With the Conley fight, he beat him by decision where he had 73 strikes, 26 significant. He had 1 takedown and 1 knockdown, and he had a whopping 11 minutes of control time, which is crazy. So he racked up the control time there, and that's why he got the 83 points there, even though he didn't get any finish at all. He just racked up the strikes and the control time, and with the knockdown and takedown, it added up to a nice bit there. And then, of course, in the last fight, which was great, He had the price tag at that time of 7,900 against Emmers. That was a steal there. He had the first round sub there. He was able to throw one strike and one, which was one significant. He got taken down, but he was able to wrap Emmers up in the submission, and he got 90 points for it just because he didn't really do anything else but get the submission, which was easy. This guy is a recipe for a lot of points here. He's going up against a fighter in Tucker Lutz. This could be a good fight here. If Pat Sabatini doesn't show up like he should. But if you look at Tucker Lutz right there, he has fought one time. He beat a good guy in Aguilar right in May, where he went to decision. He threw 114 strikes, a 99 significant. He had 3 takedowns. So he's going to be looking to wrestle and grapple with Sabatini, and he had 93 points there. But to me, the difference here in this fight, which is why I'm going with Sabatini, is the submission and wrestling aspect of it that benefits Sabatini here, because he goes to town with those guys in red zone, like Pat Sabatini, Jeremiah Wells, of course Paul Felder trained there. You got the Dawkins brothers. You got all those guys that train there that just go at it with the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, of course, Lorenzo Gracie. I feel like he can catch Tucker Lutz with a submission, whether it's the rear naked choke or guillotine. I think he can find a way. If he doesn't get the takedown, Tucker Lutz will, but I feel like Tucker Lutz will leave options open for Pat Sabatini to get that submission. And that's why I'm going with that Pat Sabatini. I think it's going to go round 2. I think each guy's going to trade takedowns in the fight. I think Lutz is going to get one in the first round, but then I feel like Sabatini is going to get one in the second round, and he's going to get a little bit of work done with the ground pound and even the striking on the feet. But I think he's going to get that submission just like he did in the last fight, and that's why I have him in my lineup. I think he's going to get anywhere from 80 to 100 Draftkings points for your lineup because of the combination of a striking, ground game striking, the takedown, and the submission, plus the victory. It's all going to add up and get you anywhere from 80 to 100 points. But with the fourth person in my lineup, I got Pat Sabatini with the DFS price tag of 8,700. With the second highest price tag fighter in my DFS lineup, I'm going up with Sean Brady, another Lorenzo Gracie fighter, who's going up against Michael Chiesa. Michael Maverick Chiesa. He's a guy that's really good with the submission and ground game, and then he's added some striking to it. But Sean Brady just adds so much more dimension to DraftKings than Kiezer does. As you see there in his UFC career, he's 4-0. 2 of his fights have gone to decision, and 2 have been second and third round finishes by submission. But the big thing here is the striking and the takedown plus control time output that he has. You look there, 3 of his fights, he has gone over 100 strikes total, with only one that's been big on significant strikes, but he averages anywhere from 2 to 3 takedowns in his fights. He's averaged 4 to 5 minutes of control time, and then he has had, of course, 2 submissions, and then his average DraftKings points per fight average is at a whopping 102.7. For a guy that hasn't knocked anybody out, that's crazy good, and that's why I'm going with him here. I do know that if you take this down and you go to Michael Kiezer, who's down at the bottom, which is crazy, if you look at him and you look there, he's averaging 69.8, but 3 of his last 5. He has cashed in over 100 fighting Conduit, Sanchez, and Magny, and just for the volume of him getting the control time with pretty decent striking output there. Not anything crazy, but his takedowns are what's great there. Like, which is why I'm thinking like my Sean Brady pick is a little risky, but if you look at the bottom there, it wasn't really great of an output just on a couple of them. But then he's had losses where he's lost by submission here to Lee, submission to Pettis, and then of course he lost to submission to Luque. I think there's that chance that if Sean Brady gets the fight to the ground and then he can win by submission just for the fact that he has to against Aguilar and Matthews. He puts in like at the fights on the feet. I think it benefits Brady because he has that power striking, and then I think his hands are better than Kiezer. And then even on the ground, if you look at there, I think his wrestling is better than Kiezer. Even though you see all the takedowns that Kiezer has done, this guy has done just as good of work with the takedowns. It's just that Sean Brady needs to keep the fight to the ground and not let the guy get back up. But there is the sneaky play where he could get the submission because, as you saw there, Chiesa leaves himself open for submission attempts against him. And I think Sean Brady will be able to capitalize on it. I see this fight going to decision, if not like a third round submission by Brady. But I think he's going to get the striking on the feet. I think it's going to be anywhere from 70 to 100 strikes in this matchup for him, which is going to be beneficial. I think he's going to get 5 to 6 minutes of control time. I think Chiesa is going to get a little bit of control time too. But I think it's going to be majority is going to go to Brady because I think he's going to have more of the strength. He's going to have to avoid the submissions of Chiesa. That's only downfall with this matchup, but I think he's going to do it. And I think he's going to get 2 to 3 takedowns. So like I said, the strength is going to be on his side. And I think that's going to put him in that area of 90 to 110 DraftKings points there. I'm going to go with the 110. I feel like he's going to do enough to get over 100 in this matchup because I feel like he's going to get the victory. I think he's going to get 2 to 3 takedowns. I think he's going to get 90 to 100 strikes total, maybe 40 significant, and then he's going to get the 5 to 6 minutes of control time. So it's all going to add up to 100 to 110 points in my opinion, and that's why I'm going with him with the fifth person in my lineup here on DraftKings right there. So now I only got one person left, of course, but if you look up there, I got 9,100 points to use there, and of course, if you look there. The person that I'm going with is a no-brainer to me. It is Adrian Yanez with the price tag of 9,100. He is my most expensive, and he's the guy that I'm going with. He's going up against Davey Grant, who's a tough guy. He's never been knocked out before, but has been in wars there. I'll actually start with Davey Grant here on the bottom because I want you to get an idea why I'm going with Adrian Yanez. You got Davey Grant, who he has all these fights. He's actually like he started out 1-3 there in his career, but then he went on a 3-fight win streak, and then he lost the last fight to Marlon Bear. He's kind of been hot and cold in DraftKings. He had 44, 99, 101, 89, 2, 29, 92, and 8. The big things with him has been the combination of strikes, the control time, and either getting a knockout or getting a decision victory for him, and that's why his fantasy points per fight for DraftKings is only at 58, whereas my pick in Adrian Yanez is much better. In his short career on DraftKings, he has 3 fights, but his average is 98.5. He's 14-3, of course. In his 3 fights, he's 3-0 against guys like Rodriguez, Gustavo Lopez, and and Randy Costa, and that was a great fight. So first round, Costa dominated, but then he tired out, and then that's when Giannis took over. If you look at that fight where he was getting pieced up a lot and then he was getting bloodied up, and to think that he still won in the second round and he still gets 106 points because of the knockout, that's a good thing to just for your lineup. If you take away the decision victory against Lopez, that was his lowest output, and he only had 81 there. The Rodriguez fight, he won by first round knockout, and then the Costa round 2 knockout. Actually, all three he won by knockout, and the Lopez one was round 3 knockout, where he got that early, halfway through the third round there. But Adrian Giannis has that boxing background. He tends to get started a little bit slow in his fights, and that's a little bit concerning. But I feel like he's going to come in there. He's going to get the combinations going against Grant. Grant takes a lot of damage, and I think that's a good thing for Giannis. And he's going to be able to get the high output in this fight. And I do see him knocking down Grant twice in this fight. And I don't think it's a first round knockout, but I think it's a second round knockout. But where I think it's going to be good for him is I think he's going to get to that 75 to 80 strike spot, and then significant strike, I think it's going to be 70 to 75. And then he's going to get the knockout. So I see a play where he gets 110 to 120 points here, just because he's going to do more volume in this fight. The longer the fight goes, it could be good for you too. If he can get a second or third round knockout, he'll be able to pour in more combinations and more striking output. But then you would have to rely more on the knockout to get you to that 100 point mark. Whereas if he just gets in the first or second round, he's going to get it regardless. And the big thing here is I think this is going to be David Grant's first knockout, because Giannis has power in his boxing. That's the difference. I feel like the strike and defense of Grant is poor in a lot of his fights, and that's going to be a recipe for a knockout for Giannis. He's going to move to 4-0, and he's going to get you 100 to 110 points in this matchup. So for my most expensive fighter in my lineup, I got Adrian Giannis with the price tag of 9,100. So if you look at the bottom at the ticker, that is my lineup right there. Right there. And then if you want to go from my lineup once again, I'll start from cheapest to most expensive by picture again. First, I got Shailene right there. I got Rafa Garcia. Then I got Terrence McKinney. Then I got Pat Sabatini. Then I got Sean Brady. And then my most expensive, I got Adrian Giannis right there. And as you see at the bottom, like I said before, it's my lineup that I put most expensive to least expensive. Adrian Giannis, 9,100. Sean Brady, 8,900. Pat Sabatini, 8,700. Terrence McKinney, 8,400. Rafa Garcia, 7,700. And Shailene Biecki, 7,200 for DraftKings this Saturday. I went top heavy, like I said before. I thought about using Pinheiro, Santos, or Levy, but I went against it because I like the top 3 guys in my lineup: Giannis, Brady, and Sabatini. Those are my core 3 in here. And then you got McKinney because of the chance that he gets the quick first round knockout, since he hasn't gone past round 2. And then my 2 wild cards in Shailene because of the matchup against Soriano. Don't know why Soriano is that high, but I feel like Shailene and Biecki can use the Chinese wrestling to get a lot of control time and possibly get his submission against Soriano, since he's been prone to it. And then, of course, Rafa Garcia with the hope that he can get that first round knockout over Levy, who's making his debut. But once again, that is my DraftKings lineup for UFC Vegas 43. This was DFS by Cage, episode 9, UFC Vegas 43. Please, once again, follow us on Twitter and follow us on Draftkings, follow us on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram. I'll put the thing up right here again for you, so you can follow us on all of our social media outlets. And then once again, subscribe to First and hit the like button on the video and throw us a comment in the comment section and let us know who you're using this Saturday. And then right before I get going, watch this video for our sponsor, who we have now, which our sponsor is High Tide Herbal. Use promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. But watch this video to see why.
Offering high-quality, sustainable products with all-natural, lab-tested ingredients, it's High Tide Herbal's mission to help others live the longest, healthiest, and most productive lives possible. Their hemp-derived CBD products have a wide variety of uses, from helping sore muscles to skin hydration and minimizing skin irritation. They generate results based on your specific needs. Elevate your lifestyle with the new wave of wellness. Visit hightideherbal.com to learn more.
Once again, put in promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase at www.hightideherbal.com. The great products. I use the soap all the time now, and all the product has CBD oil on it, as he said in the video. But check it out. Use promo code CageMyIQ10 to receive 10% off your next purchase. But that will wrap things up with this video. I'll be back at the end of the week, Friday or Saturday, if anything drastically changes with the injuries or the weigh-in. But once again, this was DFS by Cage, episode 9, UFC Vegas 43. And I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.